Hello, hello, welcome. I have a question for you, as I normally do when I start out with these, with our time together, which is, does it seem like you are doing all the right things to settle stress? I know we talk about stress a lot, but it's kind of important because once we get that foundational piece, everything else we're doing gets to be more optimized and effective, right? But it doesn't always, the things you're trying, maybe they don't always seem to get you to that place of calm. Well, in our time together today, this is kind of a fun one. We're going to talk about your vagus nerve, what it is, why it's important, and 9 ways to make your vagus nerve happier, which definitely matters, and you'll learn why in our short time together. So instead of the whole happy wife, happy life thing, we're going to go with happy Vegas, happy life. Kind of corny, but whatever. A warm hello to you listening today live or in the replay. I really appreciate our time together. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comment box and also let me know, things that are kind of are ahas for you, little things that you're learning that you can make your life better and especially your vagus nerve happier. I do have, so we're going to talk about 9 specific ways to tone your vagus nerve. And as usual, if you have seen any of the other classes or the lives, then you know that I put these together in show notes. If you want them, comment happy in the comments and I will make sure that you get them. And just so you know, if you've done that in the past and it's taken me a while to get back to you, it's because for whatever reason I'm not getting the notifications from Facebook. And even as I check in, they're not showing as comments. And so just know that I'm not ignoring you, or it doesn't usually take me that long to get you the show notes, but just in case that happens, that's why. So if we've not yet met, I'm Laurie Morse, a 30-year practitioner of Chinese medicine, director of the Sacred Health Academy, where we teach spirit-centered women who may be struggling with fatigue, pain, stress, and anxiety to waken her birthright of sacred health that's coded in every single one of our cells. And yes, that is a thing, so that she can live with ease and energy, vitality, and a sense of peace and purpose, right? So that, that's kind of important to all of us. So let's jump into the vagus nerve. So we have 12 cranial nerves in our cranium. These are the bones in our head, and there's only one nerve that leaves the cranium and innervates our central core. And vagus in Latin actually, means wandering. So it goes all the way into all of these organs in the core of our body, even down as low as our colon. So if the vagus nerve is overstimulated, and honestly, it's not that hard for it to become overstimulated. One might have a difficult, there might be a feeling of tightness in one's throat, all the way to a feeling of like hard to get the words out, or even a loss of voice, which is a whole, this is a spectrum where one might feel a little bit of something here, all the way to the other end of the spectrum where it's a loss of voice. One's voice might feel hoarse or wheezy. Maybe there's a little bit of difficulty swallowing. One might feel pain in one or both of the ears. There might be a different heart rate, like, maybe a fast heart rate or a skipping of a heartbeat. There might be an abnormal blood pressure. One might have a lowering of their stomach acid, which is important because that's how, our stomach acid is important to receive and meet the food that we drop into our stomachs, right? There might be nausea or vomiting. There might be bloating or abdominal pain. The vagus nerve is impacted by tight muscles around our ear and our neck. So if there's a tension in our neck, then the vagus nerve might have a harder time leaving our head, our cranium, and dropping into this core of our being. So yeah, and the ways that the vagus nerve, so those are the ways the things that you might feel if the vagus nerve is overstimulated and needs our attention. And then the ways they get overstimulated is things like maybe extreme exposure to heat, fear of like bodily harm kind of ratchets that nerve, that vagus nerve up a little bit. Interestingly enough, the sight of blood or even having blood drawn can overstimulate the vagus nerve. Straining during bowel movement is hard on the vagus nerve. standing for a long period of time. It's a funny balance, right? Because we say, oh, sitting, too much sitting is bad for a human body. Maybe that's what I'll do the next week's show on, actually. I was going to let it be a surprise because I hadn't decided yet, but I think I've just figured it out. Um, anyway, we don't want to sit too long as a human being because there's ramifications to that, but also standing for a long period of time is hard on the body. So it's all about that, that right balance, right? The Goldilocks, right? The middle road, so to speak. Also, if we get any sort of GI cramping or nausea, it that can irritate our vagus nerve. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. Our vagus nerve can cause nausea, and nausea can cause our vagus nerve to be unhappy, right? Any emotional or physical stress can overstimulate the vagus nerve. So hello, like that's, especially these days, that seems like it could be everything and anything, right? So, we just, I keep talking about this stressor piece because what I know is that of all the things that I'm, imparting in these videos, that if even just a few of them stick, and I'm asking you to consider, like the ones you like, um, just work them regularly. It's over time. It's being, regular and consistent over time that actually gets the results over time. So, um, okay, so let's talk about the 9 ways because they're kind of cool. Interestingly enough, and I'm not sure exactly why this is, but it just is. It's what research shows is that having cold exposure. This is a hard one for me, so don't worry if you're like no way on this one. But research shows that acute cold shower, like taking your normal shower and then turning it for the last minute or so, 30 seconds. They say to start with 30 seconds and then try to see if you can increase that. That cold water exposure activates specific neurons that are part of your vagus nerve pathway, and that stimulates and tones. So there's the word that's used when we're trying to balance the vagus nerve is toning it. And it's kind of like toning a muscle, right? Like, if we do work with weights, then our muscle gets more toned, and that's what we're talking about here in the vagus nerve. So at the end of your shower, if you lower the temperature for about 30 seconds and you do that consistently, that is really helpful for the vagus nerve. Since there's 9 things here, that is not one that's on my list. I wish it could be, but it isn't. Anyway, the second one is maybe not surprising, is deep and slow breathing. And we're talking about a breath that fills your entire diaphragm and your belly, all the way into your belly. And the key with this kind of breathing that the vagus nerve likes is a slow breath with a long exhale. So you want to, you could just start with a tempo of 3 seconds, count to, 1, 2, 3 in, take a minute, not a minute, but a second to hold, and then 3 seconds out, and then increase that time to maybe 5 or 6. And, the slower the breath and the deeper, the longer the exhale and the deeper you breathe in, the more your vagus nerve will feel toned. And a toned vagus nerve is a happy vagus nerve. And a happy vagus nerve means a happy mind, a happy body, and a happy life, right? So I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. So just remember, the slower your exhale, and that actually activates a relaxation response. There's a bunch of research on this relaxation response that we activate. We've talked about it in other shows. That actually releases a cascade of chemicals that's healing and calming to the entire body. And that's actually the only branch of the nervous system that we can heal. So it's kind of important. And especially in times of feeling stress or anxiety, a deep, slow breath, it should just be a go-to, right? So the other thing, and I do love this one, is chanting, singing, and humming and gargling. All of those tone the vagus nerve, and they're really, they're good because they activate the vocal cords, which is connected to the vagus nerve, and this is just a really good way to improve the vagal tone. So, singing in the shower or the car if you're by yourself. Chanting, you could just Google chanting and get any number of options for yourself. The one that's probably the most popular is Om. So if you just have a moment, like sometimes when I'm stretching in the morning, I'll just take a deep breath in when I'm, like holding a certain stretch where I can do this, and I'll just take that deep breath, and then I'll say Om, and I'll carry it through for as long as I have that breath. But if you were to do that, you can actually feel like a vibration in your central core. And that vibration is so healthy for the vagus nerve. The other one I love is, they're saying humming is one of the things that tones the vagus nerve. So the word HUM, just by itself, kind of like Om, is something is so soothing. And there's a whole spiritual thing about that particular tone. Because tones, words that we would chant, that it's called toning. They have an essence to them, and those essences activate certain energies in our body and our field. So the word hum, HUM, hum. There's just such a soothing quality. So I didn't finish it, but I don't want to bore you with the whole breath of that. But again, just like Om, it activates this kind of vibrational feeling in your central core, even in your chest sometimes, if you're paying attention. And like I've been on airplanes before where there's just been, like we had to wait one time in an airplane with no air for like 2 hours before we could, take off. I can't remember all the details, but I do remember being very unhappy because it was just, there's so many people. And anyway, and to myself, because there was so much external noise, to myself, I just did this light hum to myself, and it was so calming and so, it just gave me some peace in the middle of the chaos that was going on. The other thing about the word hum is it integrates your physical self with your non-physical field, and it allows for there to be a peaceful connection between the two. And sometimes we're disconnected from that part of ourselves, and so there's a distinct feeling of that, of an integrated, a peaceful integration between our physical and our non-physical self, that's worth just taking a few minutes to sort of see if you can feel. And you'll feel it best if you say this word hum. I'm kind of getting off track, but anyway, let's go back to our list. So number 4 are probiotics. There was a whole show on probiotics. You can find it on this page. And so a healthy microbiome directly relates to our gut-brain connection, our mood, the capacity to keep anxiety and depression stabilized, and it is directly related, our microbiome health is directly related to our vagus nerve strength. So probiotics, you can find a whole list of ways to keep your microbiome healthy on this page, Creating Sacred Health. And so it's just really important. All the foods that carry healthy bacteria are ways to keep your microbiome healthy. That is one to not leave off the list. So it's just really important for us to have a healthy microbiome, especially in times where there's viral activity, bacterial activity. We just need to make sure that this biome is serving us rather than allowing for pathogens to break through. So number 5 is meditation. It helps. Meditation helps with our mindfulness. It decreases our stress response, especially when we practice over time. And all of this is good for our vagal tone. So even 5 minutes a day is better than nothing. Sometimes we think we have to carve out these big chunks of time, and the more the better, but if all you have is 5 minutes, it's better than nothing, especially when it's done in a consistent way. So number 6 is omega-3s. So this comes from fatty fish or flaxseed, walnuts. These foods have been shown to improve vagal tone, overall mental health, and it helps stave off cognitive decline, right? So all of that matters to the vagus nerve. Number 7 is a massage. So just, a regular massage. A self massage is really good. And we're going to talk about an ear massage here in just one moment, but also foot massage reflexology is a really good way to stimulate the vagus nerve. The foot, just like the ear, is a microsystem of the entire body. So you could actually look up online, foot reflexology vagus nerve, and you could find the place where it is on your foot. But massaging the whole foot is good because it's very calming to the entire body. And you can have that done, or you could do it yourself, when you're watching one of your favorite shows or something at night, just kind of as a regular practice, if this ends up being on your list of the 3 or 4 things that you do consistently in order to build this vagal tone and to keep a really healthy balance in that vagus nerve. So a massage in your ear is really, really healthy. So I just want to show you, one of the ways you can do it. You can start at your lobe, just, use your 2 fingers like you're pinching your ear, and just go through and, do it to the point where you feel it, but it doesn't hurt, right? Also stretching your ear away from your head and in all the different ways that you can, that you can pull away from your head here and lift it up and pull your ear up and pull your ear down. And all of that opens up the pathways that the vagus nerve happens to travel through so that it's not trying to get through pinched and tight musculature, right? So all of this is just really, oh, and this is another thing you can do. I do them both at the same time just because it's, more time efficient. But all of this you can easily do when you're, for 2 to 5 minutes when you're watching, one of your shows at night. It's a great way to go to bed with a healthy, calm, relaxed vagus nerve that's not overstimulated. If you go to bed with your vagus nerve overstimulated, you'll have a harder time sleeping, right? So give some love to your ears. Remember I just thought about Carol Burnett, her little, I can't remember if she did it with one, I think she did it with one ear, but anyway, I'm dating myself. The Carol Burnett show was fun to watch as a younger person. Anyway, so that's number 7, the massage. Number 8 is exercise. So movement is a really powerful way to improve your vagal tone and to increase your sort of sense of happiness. We know about the neurotransmitters that get released when we exercise and move our body. So find exercise and activities that you enjoy so that you can, just make it a consistent thing in order to improve your vagal tone and your sense of happiness. It's so important right now. And then the 9th is socializing and laughing. Laughing is really great. You know that deep belly laugh where it feels like your whole central core has just gotten a massage with a good laugh, right? And it's sad because as adults, children laugh like 300 times more than adults do. I can't remember the exact statistic, but it's staggering, right? So we actually, I know that in my world, I have to kind of find and just give myself ways to laugh. One of my prayers in the morning is to, to my higher self is to point out every crack and crevice of laughter, beauty, and joy, so that I actually am in a, conscious relationship with curating laughter in my life. Otherwise, it doesn't happen as often. I love how my body feels when I laugh, and I don't know any human being who has said otherwise, right? So, despite circumstances in the world, do your best to connect with people, even if it's just when you take a walk. Look into people's eyes, say hello, connect. It'll make you feel better. Socialize where you can and when you can, and even, look up funny videos to laugh at. There's laughter yoga that I don't know if you know about this, but there's a form of yoga that is literally about causing yourself to laugh hysterically, which makes me laugh right now. But you can find videos on this, and I recommend that you do because it's worth its weight in gold on laughing. So once again, if you want all of those 9 points, those 9 ways to tone your vagus nerve, then just comment happy below and I will make sure that you get them. So let's recap. We talked about the vagus nerve, what it is, how it gets overstimulated, and then how a happy vagus nerve literally means a happy mind, a happy body, and a happy life. Better sleep. I mean, the list is long. And then we talked about those 9 ways to tone your vagus nerve. So just my recommendation to you, my invitation is to try all of the 9 ways and then just notice which ones that you feel like you could definitely do on a consistent basis. Like there's, I know I already said this, but just, that massage to your ear, massage to your feet, laughing. Find ones that just you think you could do on a regular basis, and then do them. Cause them to be a habit in your life, so that you have. And what I notice about these kinds of things when I'm bringing new habits in is that when they feel good and I acknowledge that after I do it, then I'm much more inspired to do it more, to do it again the next day, because I have a sort of a one of my high values as a person, in a body, in life right now with you, is to feel good. Like I gave myself self permission a long time ago to feel good. I don't know where I heard this, but it kind of knocked me back a little bit, because some decades ago I heard that human beings must give themselves permission to feel good, because the programming is to not. There are dramatic words like pain and suffering, which is a frequency of energy that we got steeped in over time, and we're now coming out of that. And so, in order to fully release ourselves from pain and suffering, we need to give ourselves permission to feel good. So give yourself permission to feel good, day in and day out, as many ways as you can find throughout your day, and then you will find more ways, and you'll be more inspired to do these little things that we talk about, right? So I would love to hear the nuggets that you picked up during these tips. So if you drop them into the comments, I would love to hear. And be sure to sprinkle this video around. Share it with those you care about. I really love it if you do that. Of course, all these algorithms are based on the connection that gets made through your comments. So I'd love to just have you be on board with that, if I could ask that of you. So I will be back next week, Wednesday, every morning at 9 o'clock Pacific time. And what was the thing I said I was going to? Oh, about sitting. Right. I better write that down. Well, I'll do it after we finish here. But let's talk about what happens in a human body when we sit, and some of the ways that we can actually support our body. It's all about blood volume. I'll explain all that in the video next week. It's interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to you, but it will help you so much, and I'll tell you why next week. So be sure to listen. I hope to see you there. A sacred health journey is yours to take. I'm here. My devotion to my purpose in life is to make sure you don't miss your heart calling you home to health. One step at a time on the path of health gets you more energy, less pain, less stress and worry, more happiness, like we talked about today with the vagus nerve, maybe even a nutritional lifestyle that you've been trying to make work. But most of all, you get your birthright of peace and purpose, all without spending too much money and time, especially because it's our design. It is coded in every one of your cells to be well. So thank you for being you, for tending to your sacred health. And it matters not only to you, but to life and the world. So I will see you next week. Be well and be sacred.